so let's get started. Good evening and welcome to the regular Village Council meeting. It is June 22nd. The time is 7:02 p.m. and we will begin our meeting. This meeting is being held via Zoom. The village attorney is hosting and we are holding the meeting electronically again due to executive orders. Our first, we did the, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Colleen, can you please lead us this time?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It's fun with us all trying to talk at once.
Can we please have a roll call?
Rice?
Yes.
Watsu?
Yes.
You said Eshman will be late?
Yes.
George?
Here.
Hayden?
Yes, present.
Robinson?
Yes, here.
Warnica?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4 is the approval of our agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
And do we have a support?
Support.
Thank you.
Discussion, please.
Do we have any questions or concerns?
Yes, regarding item 5, approval of council minutes, my packet did not contain the May 18th minutes, so I believe...
It says nil next to it.
They're not ready yet.
And the June 8th were included.
Okay, so
Yeah,
do
the
we
only
need to
minutes that
have
were
the May
included were
18th
June
one
8th.
in the agenda then, or do we take those off the agenda? Since we're not going to be doing anything with them.
They should be
can't approve them if they're not ready.
right.
Correct. That's why it says nil.
Yeah, so we should just have an item A, June 8th, 2020, not an A and a B.
Whatever is council's choice.
I would agree with that, Larry, but my question further would be is why don't we have them? What happened?
Well, let's first go with what we would like the agenda to state. So we would like A to be the June 8th. And
Yes.
to cross off the May 18th, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other adjustments on the agenda at this time? And then when we get to the approval of the minutes, then we can discuss the May 18th if you had a question. Any other items for the agenda adjustment?
No.
Okay, then
For me.
do I need to amend my original motion to state approve the agenda as amended then?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, I will amend my original motion to state approve the agenda as amended.
And
I'll
Councilman,
support
you support that? Okay, great. So motion on the table by Councilman Hayden, supported by Councilman Skornica. Any further questions or discussion? Liz, could we please have a roll call on that?
Watsu?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Hayden?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Skornica?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. And next up will be the approval of the council minutes. And that A will be June 8th, 2020. Do we have a motion for those?
One, I just want to point out that the motion is written, so it says May 1st. There is not a May 1st special meeting, so that date is incorrect. But on the June 8th meeting minutes, a correction from Monica Nivelt to Melanie Nivelt under roll call.
Noted.
Say that again, please.
In the roll call, it has Monica Nivelt.
Those in attendance?
Yes.
Any other additions, deletions, questions? Those would be the June 8th minutes. All right, we still do not have a motion on the table for this.
I make a motion to approve the Village Council Workshop minutes of June 8th as amended.
Support?
Support. Mark Robinson.
It also has to be corrected in the synopsis part as well.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Liz, we're ready for a roll call, please.
George,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Skornica,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes,
Watsu,
Yes.
thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 6 is the acceptance items.
No,
And-
go back to the council minutes. Why
Oh,
don't
I'm
we?
sorry. Was
the
there
May
any, yes, were there any other questions on the council minutes?
Yeah, what happened to what's going on with the May 18th minutes?
We had some difficulty in getting the tape from the attorney's office to begin with to get the May 18th, to get the tape from which to do the minutes. And in the interim, we've had some staff issues with regard to over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that has delayed those. But we hope to have them, we'll have them completed before our next meeting.
We had staff issues?
We had some absence from some of the staff members for illnesses. Not anything COVID related, just other issues.
All right, thank you.
If I may ask, should it be necessary to get the video of the meeting in order to have the meeting minutes? Because it seems that we should be capturing those minutes as the meeting is occurring. And the video would only be useful more or less for verifying in case there was any questions about exactly what was said.
It's a matter of a means of making sure that you're capturing all that has to do with the minutes. Yes, notes are taken as the meeting is going on, but it's before the minutes are formalized and finished. We'd like to be able to go through the tape to make sure that we've caught everything. So it's a precautionary measure.
If I may, in the past, I know Liz has also done an audio recording only for the fact that we've had problems with, tapes and all that in the past. So is that still going on, or?
Well, the tape that we're talking about is a tape of this session. So there's audio, and I don't know how it's kept at the attorney's office, whether it's the video as well as the audio, but certainly at least the audio.
Yeah, I know that there were times meetings in the past that were not captured by or recorded by video or audio, and we still had meeting minutes back then in the old days, so to speak. So to me, it seems like this is causing more of a delay in the process, and I don't think that lack of the video should delay getting the meeting minutes out. We should have those at least well enough, and if there's something that was missed, we can
Right, because then
probably
council
make an
would
amendment down the road if we had to.
Right, because then council would make the decision to approve or to, from the draft copy. But I agree, having the sessions audioed is a bonus type, not to be in lieu of the minutes as they occur during the meeting. And if there was a question on something that needed clarification, then we can certainly go back and look at the tape at that point. But otherwise, it seems like we're watching a meeting all over again, rather than it doesn't seem to be counterproductive that we have to go through and watch the meeting again to do minutes. but,
So, as when we asked the question, Dale had mentioned that not only are we making sure that we're verifying the minutes are correct, we've also had an absence in the office, and therefore that does, something that you couldn't plan for. So I think we're well aware that it's something that we'd like to see soon, and we hope that the office is able to do that for us. So let's move on to item number 6, which is our acceptance items. And for our June acceptance items, we have the treasurer's report, our ordinance violation report. We also have board minutes from the DDA from 6/15 and the Brandon Township meeting from February and March of 2020.
And May.
In May. No April?
I guess not.
February, March, and May. Correct. Thank you. So also add May 2020. Good catch. All right. Next up is number 7, which is our disbursements.
I have a question on the tracking report. When do we anticipate that we're going to be following up and doing some action on some of these items? Because these are, like I've mentioned several times, these are going back to last summer. And then the infractions were November and December, to make sure that the blight is, keep moving. When do we anticipate some movement on this?
Within the next week to 2 weeks, I expect to have some fresh action on regarding that.
Okay.
Okay, this
I've
Councilman Hayden, I
received-
would also like to see some action and some movement on those items too. I was going to ask the same question Colleen did.
I've gotten some input from various council members, and I would appreciate if you'd continue to do that. If you see something that draws your attention, that you would let me know what it is so I can look at it. Once I see it, what I have to do is I go and look at it and see what's involved, and then I look at our ordinances and our regulations to see how we regulate that, because we can only write somebody a ticket if it's something that they violate one of our ordinances.
Yeah, true. But the things that we're looking at on the tracking report, these aren't anything new. These are
No,
old things.
They are.
Yeah, so that's, if there's new things, what you're not identifying on your, daily drive-bys, or what we see on our daily, trips through town is one thing, but these are old issues that I'd like to see resolved, because they're just a long time outstanding. That's all. Okay, so we'll just watch for something in the next week or two.
I agree with what you're saying, and
Okay.
we'll try to get that done better.
Okay.
Thank you. So we're looking for a motion on the disbursements.
This is Butsu. I'll make a motion to approve the disbursement report ending June 15th, 2020, and pay the village's bills in the amount of $7,341.02.
Thank
This
you.
is Councilmember Hayden. I support that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilman Butsu, supported by Councilman Hayden. Any questions or discussion?
Thank you, council members, for identifying yourself. It's helpful.
All right, hearing none. Liz, I think we're ready for a roll call.
Hayden,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Skornica,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes?
Watsu,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 0.
I have a quick question. Sorry. On item number 20, the face masks, if I recall, we had face masks last month disbursement. These are more, or is this a duplicate?
It's not a duplicate. We have gotten face masks from a number of locations.
Okay.
When we get an opportunity, this may be the latest opportunity we had through the fire department to get a higher quality face mask than we'd had before. And so we bought a minimal number of those to go with what we already had.
Okay. So I was going to say, because I don't remember how many, I know it was quite a bit last month disbursement. I don't know how many you got for that amount, but okay.
Yeah,
That's all.
we don't have an excessive amount, but what we've been doing is, if we see an opportunity, and sometimes we have that opportunity through the fire department, to couple in with purchases that they have.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be the public comments. And at this point, please, this is agenda items only. Please state your name when you're called upon. You can go ahead and raise your hand or unmute one at a time. And please do remember that you do have 3 minutes to speak. And so go ahead, please. If anybody has something to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. Anybody from the public at all?
Matt Jenkins, DDA Executive Director. I don't know if it's appropriate at this time, but thinking that Mark Robinson may discuss the wayfinding committee, just wanted to let him and the rest of the council know that the DDA did appoint our second representative to the committee last Monday at our board meeting. That was Kim Hill. I guess I should have asked you if it's appropriate before I spit that all out, but.
You are, go ahead, you're fine. I was gonna say either Mark or I were going to update with DDA or wayfinding. You're fine to go ahead and throw that out there.
Thank you.
And who was appointed again?
Kim Hill.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that.
Do we have any other public comments? Those are agenda items only at this time?
So there's 2 representatives on DDA then, and is it 2? So who's the other ones on? Could you, Matt, could you just quickly tell me who's on Wayfind, or maybe Mark, you could tell me what does that consist of now?
Well, we've had a few different changes.
Maybe we can just discuss it in wayfinding, but okay, that's fine. All right, we'll just discuss it.
It's just 2 items later is where you hit
Yeah.
the updates.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any other public comments at this time?
I don't see anything in the Zoom
All right.
chat either. So.
No, nothing at this time. All right. We do not have a consent agenda for this meeting. That will be item number 9. And item 10 will be our trustee updates. And Colleen, let's start down with you.
Historical Society will have their first meeting next month. I believe it's July 14th. First meeting of the season due to the COVID. IT has not met. We were still working on that closet due to COVID. That hasn't been followed up on at that point, but nothing further for me on those.
Thank you. Mark Robinson?
Oh, okay. With wayfinding, first of all, thank you for that update, Matt. I appreciate it. And the other thing is, I received a call from Wayne Wills a couple of days ago. Wayne, I apologize. I know you're online, and I apologize for not getting back with you. I worked all weekend long, so I've just been really busy. But I do want to set something up for a wayfinding committee meeting for mid-July, and so that's my goal. And now that we have Kim added, we'll make sure we add her to this as well. And I'll be reaching out to everybody to see what dates work best for them. If you're online listening right now, and if you could send me an email and just let me know what dates work best for you, or because I know this is coming in a time where some people are taking vacations. The other thing is with the wayfinding, Matt, did we get that approved on the grant that we asked for?
Yes.
I know you put in for it. Okay, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
And the full amount was what again?
It's 6,500.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for that. And then as far as also wayfinding, can Dale, maybe you have an update that you could tell us as far as the signs for the park signs that we approved, for the 4 signs that we're having donated to us. Were those set up yet?
No, they have not been. They're not complete.
Oh, so we have not received the signs then either. Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay. And okay, so that's all I had with that. So I look forward to meeting with all the members of Wayfinding here in a couple weeks.
Have the signs been ordered?
The park signs?
Beg your pardon?
The
Have
park
the signs been ordered?
I'm not sure that the order for the final version has gone in yet.
Oh, is Liz available to tell us?
I have not ordered them yet.
Or is there any reason for the delay?
It should be taken care of this week.
Okay. And then since we're still talking about wayfinding, I see that there's some signs that have been posted, some yellow signs, like at the end of Mill Street, right there at M15. Can somebody tell me who put those up?
I'm not aware. I was just told today that they're there.
I was wondering that myself because I don't recall anything coming by the council about putting up signs like that.
No.
Right.
The same for me too. I don't really like to get our information from the paper.
Well, I if I had known about it, you would have known about it. I was not aware of it.
Is anybody
No one asked permission to do
available to
it.
tell us? Oh.
No one asked permission to do it that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Matt, do you know if the DDA had anything to do with those signs going up?
The DDA did not put those signs up.
Okay.
then I think we need to have those removed. Nobody's claiming who did it, nobody knows why, and they didn't come to council for approval. I would suggest that we remove them. Who did it?
Right.
Tanya, do you know who did it?
I do know it was private citizens, yes.
And, okay. So you know who did it? Did they? Okay.
Well, apparently you're not going to tell us who. So.
Temporary signage is allowed
one
in
thing-
the village. So they put up a temporary sign. There was nothing wrong with that at the time. I'm not sure. We'll have to clarify how long that can be up. I believe it's 30 days.
Correct.
Who said correct?
Liz.
Okay. So they're mounted to a telephone pole?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
Yes, they
Yes,
are.
they are mounted to a telephone
And
pole.
to my understanding, you can't mount anything to the telephone poles, even like garage sale signs and stuff. Isn't that correct?
That's between
I
the utility
I know
companies
a
and
lot
the
of
private
people-
citizens. That's not up to the village.
I know a lot of people post them there, but I don't think you're supposed to post things on the telephone poles. But since they didn't come through council for approval, I think we should remove them.
Temporary signs can be up for 30 days. They don't have to come before council. Anybody can put a temporary sign up in your community. And if it's on a utility pole, that would be between the utility company and them. That's not up to the village to remove anything on a utility pole. That's not our property.
Well,
So
no, I'm
at
not.
this point, they have followed the regulations possible. I'm not sure what day it was put up. I don't know when the 30 days is. At that point, then it would be a concern for council.
Let me take a look at what the ordinances provide with regard to those kind of signs, and I'll take whatever action is appropriate at that time.
Okay.
If there's administrative action that we can take.
And then get with Tanya on getting the names of who that was, so you can contact them then.
It doesn't matter to us where private citizens and who they are put signage. It's not a secret. It's something that anybody can do. They have a right to do in a community. So I'm not quite sure why we're on a specific hunt when you have a garage sale sign up and you have a for sale sign up and a lawn mowing company up. Somebody chose to do it. We wait 30 days. We have access to remove it at that point.
Okay, moving along. I just seen something pop up from Melanie asking about the signs that the village council has approved actually last year to be put up for just the temporary park signs. So yes, they have been approved by the council, and that should be good enough.
I assume that if anybody wanted to see what those signs would look like, they could probably request
Liz
a
has
copy
a copy
from
there.
Liz to send them a copy of what we approved.
Right. I
This-
mean,
This is Trustee Batsu. Those signs have been available in the office for quite a while for anybody that
Yes.
would like to look at them. They've got the dimension, the language. Again, they were approved, and so anybody that visits the office at all they have access to look at what Liz has. We'd
Well,
like to get
Larry
moving.
says,
Well, with the office currently being closed to the public, it may be easier for her to send them a PDF of
Sure.
the proposed signs.
That's fine. That's fine too.
sounds
Thank
like
you.
a great idea.
Mark, I do have one concern I would like you to bring up with the wayfinding committee. I
Okay.
do remember during the whole process with developing the current master plan, wayfinding definitely was an important topic, but it seems to me that we have suffered a bit of scope creep in terms of the extent to what the wayfinding is looking at. And I'm just a little concerned because, we're not a Rochester or Troy or Birmingham. We're a small
Right.
rural community. And I just would like to raise a concern that this project doesn't grow so big that it really doesn't, we need to keep this scaled to the size that fits the size of our community. We
Thank you,
don't
Larry.
have lots of funds to put towards this is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. That's why I was double checking with the grant money, and most of that grant money was supposed to go for the evaluation, and then it was going to fall back basically on the village, for any additional signage and all that. I'm just assuming based on past conversation that most of that budget is going to be taken care of, or that grant, from this evaluation that's going to take place once we approve it. So
Well, one
I
thing,
agree with you, Larry. So thank you.
one thing that the council needs to keep in mind is there is the wayfinding portion of the study is one thing. A thing called branding is another portion of the potential study that could occur. And it's my understanding that for either of those studies, the vendors that have been identified by Oakland County's DDA, the cost is about $10,000 for each one. The grant is for $6,500. So we already have $3,500 that has to come from somewhere. And at this point, it looks like it's likely from the village.
And with the tight budget, oh boy, we might have to decide on our own how we're going to use that money, maybe in a better way of doing our own type of signage and all that. So,
Well, I think you need to look at it carefully before we take any of those steps. But I think that you and I can talk more about that over the next few days.
okay.
Good point.
Thanks. I appreciate that you're going to follow up on that.
All right. Thank you, Dale.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Dan, I'm sorry. Candace, you didn't have anything on wayfinding, did you? Okay. I'm sorry. Dan would be our next in line. At this point, he's still not with us, so we might be able to bounce back to him. So let's move on to
Did you say Larry?
Larry.
Okay. Sorry.
Updates.
Something cut the audio or blurred it just a little bit. Yes, in terms of committee updates from Planning Commission, we did not meet, so I have no committee updates there. Tanya, I will defer to you to give an update for Personnel Committee. The only thing I'm going to mention about Personnel Committee is we did meet to discuss some of the staffing topics that Dale had mentioned. I do remember I had suggested that we should send an update to council once it was determined what the situation was with the staffing time off, and I don't recall seeing that. So I just want to emphasize that I think that, from a personnel committee standpoint, I think it is very important that when we do have topics like the staffing and out of office, that it's important that we need to make sure we keep all of council informed. And that's all I have.
Absolutely. With HIPAA also in mind, we do have to keep, be aware of their privacy, especially when having these discussions in a public meeting.
Yes.
With,
yes.
Health concern or time off or vacation, anything like that.
I just think it's appropriate council is aware if there are people out of the office in the staff, so that it doesn't matter what the reason, just so that they are aware of the staffing levels we have available.
Absolutely. So
Larry,
that we can make sure that Dale is aware and doing if we have that opportunity and when somebody is out.
Larry, when did you say you met?
That was, what day was that?
June 8th.
It was June 8th, yes.
Is that everything, Larry, that you have so far?
Yes, that's all I have.
All right, so now we're down to Pat.
Regarding the pickleball courts, I think good progress on those. Our original orientation on those courts, we're going to run east-west. The preferred, and they fit okay in there in that skate park area, former skate park area. The preferred orientation on those courts is north-south. And Wayne Wills and myself went out on a particular day, spent a couple hours measuring the north-south orientation. And they fit beautifully on a north-south orientation. So plenty of room, including the Pickleball Association guidelines on spacing between the courts from a safety standpoint and things like that. So they really, 2 courts fit in there really nice. So that's it on the layout. Regarding the cost on it, the normal vendor that Parks and Rec uses for purchases, rec purchases, probably 90+% of the time, do not have the permanent or semi-permanent posts that we would be interested in installing on those courts. So we've got an alternative vendor at this point in time. And again, the cost on the netting and the posts themselves will be around $600 for each court. Just as an approximation. I will get that to Fred Waybrand. And my understanding, of course, is that the board meets, township board meets early in July. So I'll have, during that meeting for Brad, we'll have the layout itself that Wayne and myself came up with, as well as the particular vendor that we would like to go through and the cost, and hopefully Fred will be able to present that. And I am hoping that Fred gets approval from a cost going. It should be all. So that's it.
Thank you. Mark Butsu.
The Fire Authority Board did not meet the last month. However, I do know that Dale keeps in contact with Dave Lapis, and if Dale has anything that he can share with us besides masks and things like that, go for it, Dale.
The fire chief has been very helpful to us in hand lotion and masks and other things that they have the ability to acquire. He will let us know and ask what we want and what we want to have him include us in orders on. Right now, I think that the chief is still off on sick leave because I believe he had hip surgery within the last 2 or 3 weeks and is at home recovering from that. So we haven't gotten a lot more detail from him recently, but for most of our personal protection items, we have what we need, what we have to have right now.
Thanks, Dale. So that's all we have, Tanya, from the Fire Authority Board. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. You did see in your packet that the DDA has met. We will be discussing their fiscal budget coming up. The meeting was electronic meeting, of course. The 2 new board members that we approved, both were in attendance, so that was nice to see a larger board to start out the new fiscal year. They've done a lot of hard work getting the businesses ready to reopen safely. You'll see the signs in town, and you've seen the Ready Reopen kits that have come down through Main Street, the county, that have been passed out as well through DDA, and so that's exciting for our businesses. So I appreciate all the support with that. And flipping over to personnel, as Larry said, we did meet on June 8th with Dale, and we had a chance to discuss some things with him. The minutes for that will be going to Dale this week and coming out. And I apologize that those were not ready last week, as I've been out of town for over a week. So that is my fault, and I'll take that one. I typed them all up and then did not send them out at this point. So they'll get to Dale this week. They'll get to everybody else this week as well. So I apologize for the delay in that. And I think that's it at this point. Like I said, when we get a chance, we can catch back up with Dan and see if there's anything he needs for us. All right. Item 11 is our new business. The first is our special event permit for the farmers market. And so we're looking for a motion on the table. And then I know that Candace would love to share some information with us.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I had to unmute.
If you don't mind, Candace, 1 minute, we'll put a motion on the table, and then we'd love to have you tell us about it.
No problem.
Just 1 minute.
This is Trustee Butsu. I'd like to make a motion to approve the DDA special event permit for farmers market as requested.
This is Robinson, support.
All right. We have a motion from Councilman Butsu, supported by Councilman Robinson. Candace, we'd love to hear what you have to share with us.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for allowing me to bring to you the plan for our potential farmers market for this year. When COVID hit, I was a little afraid we weren't going to be able to have it, but we were deemed essential. And through the past few months, I have been in contact with those that you have seen in the reference links of the plan, which included the local fire chief, the local police lieutenant, or police chief, the MIFMA, the CDC, MDARD, everyone I could possibly get together with to find the best practices for the social distancing, for COVID, for putting together a plan for a farmer's market, and also a phased-in plan so we can start small and spaced, be easily managed, and grow as we go and as the executive orders either open up or as they hopefully don't constrict, but if they do, we at least still fall into those guidelines if they constrict. And the plan that we put together accommodates all of that. It's been approved by the fire chief. He worked with us with it before we put it out there for everyone. The police chief as well, and the DDA has also approved it. So I hope you guys do too, and I hope to see you down at the farmers market.
All right. Do you have questions for Candace?
I'm not sure if it's specifically for Candace, but I'm looking over the permit and it says see attached narrative. Well, the only thing I see attached is an approximate vendor locations. It sounds like there was a more extensive plan than just the vendor locations. Was there anything more than just the vendor locations that came with the permit, or is this all that there was with it?
That's all that there is. It's just the phased-in plan of when we have the 5 vendors in there and things start to ease, we'll go into phase 2, and then we'll go into phase 3. And those are approximate spaces as to where they'll be located. That was the only thing that was attached.
And included in your DDA packet does show the market plan if you're interested in more detail. And I'm sure Candace could email it to you as well. But it does say the 2020 Farmers Market Plan. The narrative is included in your DDA packet from their meeting on June 8th. Any other questions for Candace about the farmers market?
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to read with the approximate vendor locations because we only got a black and white scan of it, so it doesn't really show up the phases as well.
Just a second. Do I have
That's
it?
okay.
I was gonna say
I think I
can
can.
share with you if you need me to.
No, I think I can manage it.
Okay.
It just was a little hard to determine because it's just different shades of gray for the stars, and it's hard sometimes to see which ones are which, but I can figure it out.
Okay, if you do want me to email it, I can email it to you all. That way you've got it in color, or I can screen share right now. That's not
And I
a
assume
problem.
there's no street closures planned for the market. They're just going to be along the sides of the street, and the streets will be open.
Yes, sir, the streets will be open. And we will have designated parking areas for everybody using the parking. We won't be in the parking lots or anything, so parking will be open, streets will be open, we will be on the sidewalks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Candace.
Any other
Thank
questions
you, guys.
for Candace? All right, Liz, I think we're ready for a roll call, please.
Robinson,
Yes.
Warnica,
Yes.
Bryce,
Yes?
Watsu,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0.
I do have a question for you guys real quick, if I may, Tanya.
Please.
Okay, do you guys have any preferences for new vendors? What kind of vendors?
Would you like us to send you an email? for
Yes,
ideas we
send
have?
us yes, send me an email. Do you have any preferences for vendors? Let me know.
We would love to do that. Thanks for keeping us out involved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item B for new business is the 2020-2021 DDA budget. And I'd like to entertain a motion for that.
Make a motion to approve the DDA budget as requested.
Thank you.
Councilmember
Support.
Hayden, support.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Skornicka, supported by Councilman Hayden. Do we have questions or discussion?
This is Trustee Butsu. I did not receive the full DDA budget. I've got 33 pages of DDA information in front of me, and going through it, I think I got left off the list of sorts, so I'm not real sure on.
Your back page, do you not have a folded back page?
Exactly, I do not.
Okay. You
I
definitely-
did not either.
Me either.
So, Matt, do you have the opportunity, please, to jump in and tell us the differences between last year's and this year's budget?
Okay, the DDA board at our June 15th meeting approved a budget that mirrors last year's budget. They did so taking into consideration potential revenue uncertainties moving forward. We felt, the board felt that it was best to maintain those levels. There were 4 specific line items in the budget that were updated to current levels. So there was an increase of approximately $5,000 to the budget, $5,000 more to the budget from last year's numbers. Those adjusted categories are wage expense, payroll taxes, dues. The National Main Street dues did go up. And the market manager's contract, because last year we started late with a market manager, and so this year it was adjusted to the full contract for the market manager. And there's 3 DDA board members on the Zoom meeting if you have specific questions as to why or the methodology as to why we decided to stay the course.
I have a couple of questions. Well, a couple of things. One, how many of the council members do not have the budget that was not in their packet? How many was that said it?
Butsu for sure.
Robinson.
Pat, you got the spreadsheet, and Larry, you got the spreadsheet too. You guys got the budget?
Yes, this is Trustee Hayden. I did get the spreadsheet with their budget on the tail end of the DDA board meeting minutes. But I do notice I also have the electronic documents on demand meeting packet, and I do not see a copy in the electronic meeting packet. So it seems like only the hard copies got the printout of it.
So, all right. So what is that? About half of council that don't have it?
Yeah, this is Trustee Butsu again, and I'd like to put this, if we can move this to another meeting or a separate
Table it.
meeting, if need be. And so I'm not going to vote on something I can't see. So, as anybody can understand that.
Matt, can you please tell us when your approval is needed?
Our fiscal year is July 1.
So we have to have a special meeting. This is something that it said was in there. The information was in there, and if you were missing it, you were more than able to get with Dale this weekend or Liz and ask for it. And I'm not in any way saying we need to vote on something that you don't have the information on. What my concern is that you didn't look for information that you didn't have, that we should have in front of us. And if it says we're looking at a budget, we should have had a chance to go over this budget and sent Matt any questions or concerns we had before this date.
Well, I agree with that, Tanya. And like I said, there's 33 pages from the DDA in my packet. And I kept going through it thinking I was losing my marbles, but it just isn't here. And, anyhow.
Well, yeah.
Well, let me point out something too. I just found out late today that we may have some need to do something more with our next fiscal year budget than we thought. Because when we met for the budget workshop, we were advised that we did not have to have a budget approved until October. I still haven't seen the documentation on that, so I'm going to look for that more. But I asked Beth to do some more checking with our accountants, and we have the potential of needing to approve a new budget for our new fiscal year just to continue to operate. So I'm going to get into that more tomorrow, and I will get back to the council. If in fact we have to have something, we may have to schedule a formal budget hearing and an adoption of the budget, all of this before July 1st.
So now they're saying that you have to, just in order to maintain, you have to have something in place. So what happened to?
All I'm saying to all of you is that late this afternoon, I got more information on that, but I don't have enough to even know what to tell you. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And particularly since this has come up in some of you do not have a copy of the proposed DDA budget, that may work out that we can take care of both of them at once.
Yeah.
But we cannot postpone this. We have to have a meeting to approve, is my point. We can't postpone until our July meeting.
This is Trustee Hayden. I think that if the rules that would allow us to postpone past July 1st would also apply to the DDA budget. If we have to have something by July 1st, then we would handle them both together. That would be my thought.
I'll try to find out something more tomorrow, and when I get a definitive response on this, I will get back to all of you.
Thank you, Dale.
Matt, do we have word that we can postpone past July 1st?
I have not done any investigating into that. Our plan was to
We
have
haven't
something
heard
in
that
place
that's
for.
a possibility for us.
Correct. And at the state level, that was only at state level, city and town level. That was not even at township level because townships run on a different regulation. So at that point, I don't know now, but it wasn't a township level either. So every entity is different.
So getting back to the papers that we have with the, I have a couple of questions that following the March 2020, the treasurer's report, the DDA treasurer's report, who puts this together? Is it Wayne as the treasurer of the DDA? Is it Beth? Is it Matt? Who puts this treasurer's report together?
Beth puts together the reports based on the data that she receives from the DDA, and the discrepancies that were brought to my attention by a couple of the council members. I can give a better explanation of. I don't know that we need to go into all this right now, but there was a difference between some of the figures on one report and on another report, and I have a full explanation of each of those. It turned out that some of the checks, the way they were dated and the way the report was written, kind of didn't match each other. So you had to add two together to make them match. But it's all appropriate.
Okay.
I think we've been down that road before where, Matt had to explain the two different ends of everything.
Well, in this case, it turned out that a certain set of checks were written like July 1st, and that's not correct, of course, because we're not to July 1st, but they were written for like the first of the month, but the report was written at the end of the month. And so those checks weren't included in that report, but they were in the next report. You have to put the two of them together to make them match what the report says.
Okay.
This is Councilman Robinson. So is this normal that Beth is doing the DDA budget?
She's not doing the DDA budget. She's accounting for their income and expenditures. The
So-
DDA budget is done by Matt and the DDA board,
Okay.
not her.
All right. Thank you, Dale.
So what we're looking for is a motion to,
Postpone.
well, postpone would be towards the next meeting. We can't do that. It would be to, correct me if I'm wrong, Liz, would it be to schedule with the village budget? Would that be an appropriate motion?
If you just postpone it to a future date, then when we get the rest of this ironed out, we'll set a date. That would not be going to the next.
Postpone.
Didn't we have a motion already? Because we're discussing it. I thought we had a motion before.
We
we
do,
discussed.
but I'm saying before we do it, what will it be?
There's a motion on the table to approve, but
Correct.
you can
That's
a
what I
motion
thought.
to postpone would override that.
So we would have to clarify postpone to a later date. So
Yes,
it's not the next meeting. Okay.
not
All
the
right.
next meeting.
All right, I'd like to amend my motion to read that we would like to postpone to a later date the 2021 DDA budget.
And
Councilman Hayden, I support that.
Was
Thank
a
you.
supporter of the original motion in agreement to the new motion?
Larry Hayden, yes.
Okay.
Oh, did I support the original motion?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why I asked, were you okay with that?
Yes. And I just said, yes, I support the amendment.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilman Skornicka, supported by Councilman Hayden. Do we have any questions on the motion? All right, and so we will look forward to having an email of the DDA budget sent to us. You're able to ask Matt any questions, obviously Courtney as well, if you have any questions. All right, so.
And if there's something in particular that you want to, you want more information on, get it to me and I'll get it to him.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you. All right, Liz, can we please have a roll call on this?
Warnicka,
Who?
Warnicka,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes?
Batsu,
Yes.
Eshman is still not here. George,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries 6-0.
Before we move on, if we do need to have a budget meeting to approve everything before July 1st, we don't have a lot of days to do it. Do we have any tentative date we could think about for when we might have that meeting if we need it?
That's
Well,
something.
I ask you to let me get back to you, because if we have to hold a formal budget workshop, we have to post that.
Yeah.
And we have to advertise it for a certain amount of time. So I don't know what that's going to allow us to do.
So
Okay.
thank you, Dale.
I'll get back to you tomorrow on that.
Okay.
All right, item C is the LRIP from Oakland County, and that will be Dale, please.
Yes. Fortunately, the village has had the opportunity over the at least the last 3 years of taking part in an Oakland County project or grant that they provide on a similar basis to their to another program that they provide for road improvements. And what the village has used it for is a crack fill program, where we rent a machine that heats up the materials to do crack fills, and then we buy the materials, I think, from the same company, and we use that to do crack fill all over the village. DPW has done an absolute great job Our roads, as you all know, are not in the best condition anywhere in the village, but they look much better than they actually are because of the diligence of the DPW in using this crack fill program. And this year, the amount that we can get from the county is $5,435, and it's a 50-50 program. So we have to expend as much as we get. But by the time you look at the material and the labor and all of that involved, it's not a great difficulty for us to spend $5,400 on this program. But I need the authorization of the council in order to apply for it.
This is Trustee Hayden. I make a motion to approve the village manager apply for the local road improvement program to continue the village crack fill program to expend at least $5,435 in village funds.
This is Trustee Robinson. I support.
Everybody wants to support that.
We have a motion on the table by Councilman Hayden, supported by Councilman Robinson. Do we have any questions for Dale on this? I know we have done this before, but has anything changed or any additional thoughts?
Do we, I know other communities are probably taking advantage of this as well, and this is borrowed equipment, right, for a period of time. Do we know when we plan on starting to do this project?
Well, as soon as we get approval from the county to be in it, and I think it's kind of like the tri-party program. I think that it's not so much that we stand a chance of not having them approve it, but we still need to have them approve it so that we know we have the matching funds. Otherwise, it would be a $10,000 project for the village.
Well, I certainly think until such time as we can do more significant investment in rebuilding our roads, that we have to do whatever we can to try to maintain them and add to their longevity.
I agree with Larry on that.
This is an excellent program.
Any other questions? All right, Liz, can we please have a roll call?
Rice,
Yes?
Batsu,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Skornica,
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next up is item 12. That's our unfinished business. A is SISMA. There still is nothing to update at this time as they have not met. And I know once that begins again, that we will continue as of now to send Bob down. I know that's something he was doing. So that stays just on here with no updates at this point. And 12B is the Personnel Committee appointment. And we are looking to add a third person to the Personnel Committee. And my nomination for that would be Pat George. The negotiations and the personnel involvement that he's had through the high school, I definitely appreciate. And I would look forward to seeing if he'd be a part of the team.
Is this open for discussion, or do we have to make a motion or something first?
We
Or
will
what?
be a motion on the table, and we are more than welcome to discuss, yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the nomination of Trustee George to the Personnel Committee.
Thank you. Do we have a support? All right, I will support that. And do we have questions or comments? Mark,
Yeah, I thought last year, this is Councilman Robinson. I thought last year you asked Pat George and
hold on, Mark, you
declined.
cut out. Try again.
Okay, this is Mark Robinson. I said I thought last year Pat George was asked to do that and he declined, or there's some reason behind that.
I don't know if it was last year, Mark, but I would like to decline this year.
You are more than welcome to.
Yeah.
Any other questions, discussion? All right. So hearing none, Larry, would you like to withdraw the motion from the table?
Well, if
Oh,
Pat is disinclined to serve on the personnel committee, then I will withdraw my motion.
all right,
The motion died for lack of support. It doesn't need to be withdrawn.
all right.
I think Tanya supported it, so I think I do have to.
Oh, okay.
Withdraw it.
All right, and I obviously support that as well. Thank you,
withdraw
Larry.
your second then?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Larry. Okay, well, looks like we will continue with postponement of this and continue with a personnel appointment next month again.
This is Trustee Batsu. Is there a reason why we can't nominate somebody else at this time?
Because I would like to obviously discuss with them and get their information with them first.
You didn't do that with Pat.
We did discuss it. Yes, we did.
Well, I think we also discussed with Colleen's nomination a few different times.
And that'll give me a chance to talk with her and discuss that if that's an option.
Okay.
This is still an appointment that is supposed to be recommended by the president and approved or disapproved by council in general. So this is still an appointment to be made by the village president.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So we did say we postpone, please. So that's on a record.
Well, the thing about postponing it is, once again, another month going by is that the committee doesn't exist without the third member. So because our rules of procedure state 3 people, any meetings that you had on June 8th was an improper meeting based on the council's rules of procedure.
Colleen, I would like to, this is Trustee Hayden, I would disagree with that because we currently have open positions on planning commission. That does not invalidate the planning commission as long as there's still a quorum. The fact that it states 3 members from council, we still have 2. We have a quorum and we're trying to fill the
You're not
third
supposed
position.
to have a quorum. You're not supposed to have a quorum.
Well, what I'm saying is planning commission can operate with an open position and personnel committee can still operate if there's an open position. We need to fill that at the earliest opportunity, but it is the president's responsibility to suggest appointments. And she did suggest one and it was declined. So she just is asking to have more time to consider the next person to try to appoint. And I would like to give her that courtesy. And I don't see that the personnel committee is invalidated. After all, that was, it's been valid up until this point in time. And I don't think that just because we changed our rules of procedure that invalidates the current personnel committee. I think that's an inappropriate interpretation.
No, it's against our rules of procedure, but okay. Well, I trust that she'll come next
It's like any committee. If somebody leaves the committee, we have to fill the appointment. Fill the position. That's clear. It states now that we have 3. We're just trying to get that third person on there. If Mark would be willing to come back on, I'd love to have Mark Robinson. I thought we worked really well together on personnel committee, but
Thank you, Larry.
that
I
would be
thought
up
so
to
too.
Tanya and Mark to talk together.
And that was what I was going to say. When Mark wasn't on it, we were still able to meet in the interim until we fix it. So this is something we will continue to pursue and work on.
Another delay.
So next up is item 13, which is the village manager's report. Is there anything specific you'd like to share with us, Dale?
Yes. Yeah. You didn't get a written report from me this time, but there's a couple things that I wanted to bring you up to date on. One of them is on the sidewalk project, the 2020 sidewalk project. We are out for bids now on that project. We have sent out the documentation through Row Engineering to, I think, 12 or 13 different companies that we were aware of. where packet material were sent to some that we had sent to other years and some new ones that the row came up with. As our Councilman Eschman pointed out before, he thought that it was a little too elongated. So when I talked to Row Engineering and asked them to make the bid package as simple as possible, because it's really a pretty straightforward project that we're looking at. The bids are out and they are to be opened on July 1st. So hopefully by the next board meeting we will have a successful bid for you to review. Any questions about that?
I just say I look forward to getting some of this going. So thank you.
Okay.
It's been postponed several times.
Yeah. The next one that I wanted to talk to you about was Crossman Park. As you remember, you all approved to have plans drawn so that we could go out for bids on the construction of the drainage for Crossman Park. And in the interim, we're still doing what we've done for many years, and that is use hose to drain off when we need to. The plans for construction should be complete by the end of this week, and we hope to go out for bids by July 3rd on that project. So both of them are moving along. Any questions?
Yes, this is Trustee Hayden. Dale, I know we did receive an inquiry from a resident regarding Crossman Park Drain Project. Were you able to satisfy his concerns about that?
Well, I'm not going to speak for whether the person who raised concerns is satisfied, but I had Bob go over to have a direct discussion with him to let him know what we were working on and what we were trying to do. It turns out that what we're planning to do may not have a great deal of effect on the issue that was being raised by the resident. But the engineers are aware of it. They're aware of what that concern was, and we're trying to accommodate that up with what we're doing with our plans.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate the follow-up with the resident.
All right. Anything else, Dale, you had for us for your?
Let me see. Well, the only other thing is, as I mentioned to you before, I got this information late this afternoon about the budget and what we need to do. I don't have any more detail than an email between Beth and our accountants. I'm going to deal with Beth tomorrow more, and we'll get some detail. I want to talk to the president about it directly tomorrow sometime. And once I get an answer as to what we need to do and when we need to do it, I'll let you all know.
Thank you.
We look forward to that. Thank you. All right. Anything else you had for us?
No.
Thank you very much for the updates. Item 14 is the public comments. This will be on non-agenda items only. So please, as I said, step forward. You would have 3 minutes. Go ahead and state your name or raise your hand and make sure that we're taking turns. If anybody has anything they would like to share with us, we would love to hear from you.
This is Wayne Wills, 4 Church Street, or 4 North Church Street. I was unaware that the sidewalk was on the agenda, the sidewalk project. I have no idea what the scope of that project is. So I have a question about what the scope of that project is. I thought that there was no money to do any sidewalks with. So I'm surprised that that was on the manager's report. That's my comment.
If I could just to address a couple of portions of that, it was in the budget for the current year. The amount I'm not positive of, but I think it was like $40,000 or $50,000 to do a project, but it was never taken forward.
Right.
And so from council instructed me some time ago to look into getting it refreshed. We got an approval from council to update the bid documents through Row Engineering And that's what my report tonight was, to say that we're progressing along that. So this and what we have projected into the new fiscal year with the preliminary budget that was given to council at the budget review, and the same amount of money in the budget to see if we can yet fund a project.
So is it safe to say that we're going to buy as much sidewalk lineal footage as $40-some thousand will carry us?
Well, that's not necessarily a safe thing to say, because council could approve, of course, if it turns out that we have a bid that is for the whole projects and not just per foot. If it's a per foot bid and it says they will do whatever we want at that footage, then we might be able to do what you're saying. If it's a bid that says, here's our bid for these 3 projects, 3 streets, then we wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to break it down.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Wayne. Do we have any other questions or comments from the public at this point? All right. Hearing none. We have item 15 is the items from the trustees. So, Mark Butsu, can we start down on your end?
Sure. My main item was the issue of the drainage at Crossman Park. I'm glad to see it was brought up, and I'm glad to see Dale's on top of it. We'll know in a week or so. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat?
Nothing at this time.
Larry?
Yes, I just want to say I think that our DPW crew continues to do a good job under challenging circumstances. I also want to comment back to what Wayne was mentioning about sidewalks, and just share with him that in general the council has been looking at things like sidewalks and streets and in our budget planning, and we are committed to trying to get some progress on both streets and sidewalks as our budget permits. Obviously, we only have a certain amount of funds we can devote every year, but I think most of us think that it is time to start at least doing some pieces of what we can do each year to try to start catching up on the backlog of improvements that we need. So I just want to share with you that we are definitely trying to move forward with not just some sidewalks, but some streets as our budget permits. And that's about it from me.
Thank you. All right. That will be Mark Robinson. We're still missing Dan.
Alrighty, thank you, Tanya. And since we're on the subject for DPW and that, I just want to say how pleased I was that ugly-looking tree that looks like it was a hazard and everything else. And I just think the DPW that they were able to take it down at the corner of Marin and Mill Street. It looks so much better over there. They did a great job. So thanks for getting that done. And that's all I had.
All right. Thank you. Colleen?
I want to say that the mural looks great. Look forward to the other murals that are going to be happening around town. I would like to do a DPW shout out for them handling the tree damage from the storm from last week along Mill Street. I know that some of those trees were challenging. I'd also like to mimic, I think it was Mark Butsu, about the drain being handled. Appreciate Dale being on top of that and keeping the residents informed of that are have a specific role in that. And I'd also like to mimic Larry's comment about the sidewalks and streets, that the council's committed to getting as much streets and sidewalks done as our budget allows.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. I have nothing specific at this time. Everybody's pretty much stated all the wonderful things that are going on in town and all the people that we need to thank. So I thank you all for doing that. So it looks like item number 16 is the adjournment. can I entertain a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Support Robinson.
Motion on the table by Councilman Skornicka, supported by Councilman Robinson. Do we have any questions, discussion? Liz, can we please have a roll call?
Batu,
Batu, yes. Yes.
George,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Cornica,
Yes.
Rice.
Yes. Motion carries 6-0, and we have adjourned at 8:17 p.m. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you,
Thank
Tanya.
you, Pete.
Thank you, everybody,
Have a good
especially
night.
members of
Night.
the public for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.